What's going on, fantasy owners? Welcome back to another episode of the Eye Test. I'm here with co host Paul Orlando, and today we're going to be grading some free agency off-season moves. And we're going to focus on the Jets and the Browns. There was a nice little trade that went down, and that was with Elijah Moore headed on over to Cleveland. Before we get into the grading, guys, thanks again for watching on YouTube. Go ahead and press the subscribe button, like this video, and comment what you think Elijah Moore is going to do this year in the fantasy season. So, Paul, what's your grade on Elijah Moore to the Browns?
So I'm going to give this like a B plus, sort of teetering near an A. The only reason I am skeptical on giving it an A is because he comes to a division that is very, very good, very defensive side of the ball strong. So six of the games of the year, he's going to be playing the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers, all whom play very physical, tough football. And so I think Elijah Moore is going to have to adjust to that. But in terms of Elijah Moore's career, I think this was a godsend. He now goes to a team with a quarterback who I still think is going to regress, but is still an above average quarterback. He is in that number 2 role, so he's not going to be facing the best corners on the field. He's going to have a little bit more room to breathe, a little bit more of opportunities to prove himself. The spotlight's not going to necessarily be on him, but if he plays well, they're going to certainly be talking about him. So I love this move for both sides. I think the Browns get to try to get a steady wide receiver too, and Elijah Moore, who's young, who's kind of got a chip on his shoulder because of everything that happened in New York. And now Elijah Moore has certainly the most talented quarterback who's ever thrown him passes. So I think it's a win-win for everybody. I'm giving it a B plus.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good landing spot. I mean, let's not forget that he probably will be competing for that wide receiver 2 role with Donovan Peoples-Jones. He ended up having a pretty good, I guess you could say, second half of the season once Deshaun Watson came in. I mean, he was getting favored over Amari Cooper. So that's something I'm keeping my eyes on. Elijah Moore is not really much of a red zone threat. That's going to be Amari Cooper still and Nick Chubb. Those are going to be the guys getting the touchdowns on the Browns. So I think there could have been a couple other options for landing. But once Elijah Moore saw all those receivers going to the Jets, I mean, he is more useful over in Cleveland than he is in New York. So I do get that. But I don't think Elijah Moore is going to he'll do better than last year, I guess. It's really not that hard to top 37 catches for 400 yards and 1 touchdown. So I'll say Elijah Moore does do better than last year, but I don't think it's the best landing spot. So I'll give him a C to your B plus.
That's fair. That's fair. And yeah, I think Elijah Moore kind of saw the writing on the wall. Aaron Rodgers coming over. They bring over Allen Lazard. Garrett Wilson is I think, proving himself to be a very capable wide receiver 1 in this league. So it was something that had to happen. And I just think the Browns were probably, I mean, where else would you have liked to see Elijah Moore go where you think he could be more successful?
Well, I mean, after the Texans traded Brandon Cooks, I don't know what happened first, but I bet Elijah Moore would have liked to get paired up with Bryce Young or, Will Levis or something like that. He could be the wide receiver 1 and, competing with that Nico Collins role. So I could see the Texans being a good landing spot for him. But I was just thinking, imagine being like Elijah Moore and you see those crazy trade, or not like, I guess you could just say crazy requests made by Aaron Rodgers. Like, if you guys want me in New York, you need to bring in OBJ, Mercedes Lewis, Randall Cobb, and Elijah Moore is just like, dude, I'm better than the majority of those guys you just listed.
Yeah.
Like, I want to get out of there too. So like I said, it is better than New York. I think he will outperform his stats next year, but I still see him as like a late draft pick in redraft leagues. Like, I see him being available in like the 12th round still.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely going to be, and this kind of is even for Dynasty too. He's definitely got a spot on my bench. In no way am I ever drafting Elijah Moore and being comfortable with him in my flex. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right. I think it's funny that Aaron Rodgers came over and made all these, if you want me, this is what I need. And Elijah Moore is like, man, I got another situation with Zach Wilson where I'm going to have to do this, this, and this just to get the ball.
Yeah.
Like, just get me out of here. I want to go to somewhere where they want to throw me the ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say probably any other team was a better landing spot for Elijah Moore personally than the Jets. But I just think the Browns with Deshaun Watson, I think they kind of move more Donovan Peoples-Jones into a slot role where I think he'd be a little more comfortable working in that atmosphere. So I like the move. I'm sticking with my B plus.
All right, a B plus from Paul and a C from me. Let us know down in the comments what you guys think the grade is for Elijah Moore. Is he going to do better than last year? Is he going to do worse, or is he going to do the same? Go ahead and press the subscribe button. Turn on notifications. That way you get notified when we post more content like this. Tomorrow we will be going over Brandon Cooks to the Cowboys. Paul, get ready to put that grade on Brandon Cooks because I love it. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Maddie.